here. Right. Dale. Can Dale suggest a diet to reduce cholesterol? As I've had mine checked and it is just over 6. I had a very good score for the good cholesterol, as I eat quite a lot of oily fish and regularly cook Dale's anti-inflammatory curry, which I've been told to knock out cheese and nuts, which I eat a lot, as I'm a semi-veggie. I love nuts. I eat quite a lot of nuts.
Yeah, and they can potentially be pretty good for you. I mean, Brazil nuts got lots of selenium in and loads of vitamin E and walnuts and stuff. This is a really tricky one. I mean, the whole nutrition world is really being turned on its head in regards to cholesterol. It's very difficult for me to say this with absolute authority because the evidence is still a little bit mixed, but it's looking very likely that our kind of current attitudes to cholesterol are going to change a little bit. Maybe 6 isn't that high if you happen to have a very high good cholesterol. Cholesterol is a vital substance, okay? It's involved in maintaining the structure of every cell in your body. It's the key component to all your steroidal hormones, so estrogen, testosterone, etc. It's the precursor to vitamin D in your body. Right. It's what is actually turned into vitamin D. So it is important. But if it gets too high and you get too much of the wrong one, it obviously can be quite a problem for the cardiovascular system. It can trigger localized inflammation, which damages the walls of the blood vessels, or if there's any damage in the blood vessel walls already, cholesterol can actually get kind of tangled up whilst the body is trying to repair that damage and actually starts to form a plaque on the inside of the blood vessels. So not always the best thing. The things that, there are a few things that have got a reasonable amount of evidence behind them. One of the biggest is oats. Oats has got a soluble fibre called beta-glucan in it, and that actually can chemically bind to cholesterol that's in the digestive tract. Because just to sort of backtrack a little bit, cholesterol is made in the liver and is then released via our bile into the digestive tract, where it's reabsorbed into circulation. It's called the enterohepatic circulation. It's literally produced in the liver, out it goes into the digestive tract, absorbed alongside all our other nutrients, gets into the blood that way. There's certain things that can block that cholesterol from going in, i.e. the little cholesterol lowering drinks. That's how they work. They stop the cholesterol being absorbed through the digestive tract. Or there's other types of fibres that can actually physically bind to the cholesterol and then actually carry it out via the bowel. And the beta-glucan in oats is the most effective one of those. Also pectin in apples does the same sort of thing. So
porridge is
porridge
really
is
good.
Wonderful, yeah. And if you grate some apple onto it with a little bit of cinnamon, happy days. There you go. You've created a really, really... It's so simple, so effective. Also, shiitake mushrooms, there's a compound in there called erythidine, which a lot of research in China has actually shown will lower LDL to a point, but at the same time elevate HDL. And then the big one is the actual kinds of fats that you're consuming. It's looking likely that actually the kind of consuming saturated fat causing high cholesterol is actually a little bit of a myth, based on the new evidence. But if you're not consuming enough of the good fats, that can actually affect things. Okay. So you need to be consuming more omega-3, so oily fish, a real big one. I mean, there's lots of epidemiological evidence, like population study evidence that shows societies that eat a lot of oily fish have much lower incidence of high cholesterol, heart disease, and that's probably the link. The other big one that I didn't know until recently is that carbohydrate intake will directly affect your cholesterol levels. So if you consume too much refined carbohydrate, i.e. white rice, white bread, white pasta, sugar, processed grains, those kind of things, anything that sends your blood sugar up very quickly, because your body wants to get the blood sugar down as quickly as it possibly can, one of the first things it will do is turn that sugar over into fat, and you get an increase in something called triacylglyceride.
I think I've got that already.
Yeah. Then that triacylglyceride turns into something called a VLDL, a very low density lipoprotein, which then becomes LDL.
Right.
Which becomes your lousy cholesterol. I think LDL, lousy cholesterol. So there's that link between excessive carbohydrate intake and high cholesterol. And I never knew that until about 6 weeks ago. So incredible research being done, and the nutrition world has been completely turned on its head. And there's people bickering left, right, and centre in the academic community. A lot of people are, sort of making a lot of noise in both sides of the fence. But
yeah, because it does come down to the study of what the nation is consuming, really, doesn't it? So it's very interesting.
Yeah, well, the epidemiological stuff, like the population studies, that can certainly set the stage for future research. I mean, sometimes it could be, it could be genetic factors, it could be other elements of the lifestyle, but it certainly poses questions. It poses a hypothesis that people can then go off and do sort of intervention studies with. It is fascinating stuff. It's a bit geeky, but it's fascinating.
No, I think what it comes down to is that that's why you never get the vouchers for the stuff that you want to buy from any supermarkets, because they don't need to eat it anymore because it's not good for you. I keep getting vouchers for cat food.
Hey, you never know, that might be the next Hollywood diet.
Who knows?
The cat food diet.
Yeah. Now, Jerry sent an email in to say, if ordinary soap and water is recommended for washing hands to prevent infection by hospitals, surely the same applies to facial skin for care as well. Mind you, soap and water can dry your face out so much.
Pure soap will remove something called the acid mantle, which is like an outer protective layer. Can dry the skin. When the skin gets dry, there's receptors in there which measure the amount of sebum within the outer layer of the skin. If it gets too dry, signals to the sebaceous glands to actually release more sebum. The more sebum you get released, the more chance there is of a comedone forming, which is basically where the sebum oxidizes, forms a blackhead. Once the blackhead's there, that traps like the Staphylococcus bacteria that's normally present on the outer layer of the skin within the pore, triggers infection. Hey ho, you got a zip.
Carol Ann says, hi, if I eat too much cheese, is this bad for you because it's high in calories? Is this right?
Well, yeah, it is. Excuse me. It is quite calorific. It is quite high in fat. It depends what type of cheese that you eat. I usually eat like feta and goat's cheese because they tend to be a lot lower in fat.
Yeah.
Although you can get some very high fat goat's cheeses. Depends which ones you get. And they tend to be much higher in the protein as well.
Yeah.
Depends how much you're eating, and it also depends what the rest of your diet's like. If you eat a fair bit of cheese, but then the rest of what you eat is like fruit and salad, probably not a big issue. If the rest of your diet consists of loads and loads of red meat and fry-ups and things like that, then it's part of a gloomy picture. So it's not. I think it's really important that we don't look at individual foods as being
good
like the
bad
problem or the solution in themselves. It's like the part that they play in the overall picture of your diet, because your overall diet over your lifetime is the thing that paints the kind of biochemical picture inside your body and will determine how things kind of turn out.
Leanne says, can you please ask Dale, why must diabetics not eat nuts? Because I am one, I miss my walnuts at Christmas.
I can think of absolutely no logical reason, or I can't think of any evidence that would suggest why diabetics shouldn't eat nuts. Absolutely none whatsoever. If anything, I'd actually say they would be relatively beneficial. Any good quality protein foods can be really, really good because they can actually lower the glycemic load of a meal. So if you had, like, say for example, a small bowl of porridge with mixed nuts and seeds on there, you've created a very, very low GI meal. So obviously the impact that will have on your blood sugar will be a positive thing. I mean, no idea. I'd say there's absolutely no evidence for that.
Go back to who told you. If it wasn't somebody with the knowledge, then Leanne, check it out again. Dale, we've madly run out of time, but if you want to find out more about Dale and his wonderful recipes as well, because he's also, his first book is all about fabulous food that's good for you. You can find him at dalepinnock.com.
It's just dalepinnock.com, yeah.
And are you still putting a recipe of the week up there, or a recipe of the month?
Well, yeah, that will go out on the newsletter and stuff as well, and it goes up on the front of the site, and we're sort of messing around with different ideas and stuff. Yeah.
All right. Well, we look forward to seeing you on the telly, on a television set near you, because you've been doing Alan Titmoss show as well.
I have, yeah, been doing that. Done a few of those, and it's great fun.
Good stuff.
Awesome.
Well, lovely to have you here on the programme. Thank you so much.
It's a pleasure.